You know that feeling when you're deep in a conversation with an AI assistant and then poof, it completely forgets what you just told it 2 minutes ago? It is so frustrating. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how AI agents are being engineered to remember, transforming them from these forgetful tools into partners that actually feel intelligent. Let's dive in.
So why does this even happen? You ask your AI to remember your name as, say, Sam, and then the very next question, it's like it has no idea who you are. And believe it or not, this isn't a bug. It's actually a fundamental characteristic of how most of these large language models are designed. They are, by their very nature, forgetful.
The core technical reason for this is a concept called statelessness. At their heart, LLMs are stateless, and what that means is its entire awareness of the world is confined to a single isolated moment, just one API call. As soon as that call is over, the slate is wiped completely clean. It's literally like having a conversation with someone who has zero short-term memory.
So, let's just call this what it is. The central problem we're talking about here is AI's amnesia. This built-in statelessness is pretty much the biggest barrier we have to creating agents that feel genuinely helpful and, intelligent. And this really, really matters because memory isn't just some nice-to-have feature. Without it, an AI can't personalize its answers to you, it can't learn from your past conversations, and it definitely can't adapt its behavior. It's basically stuck meeting you for the very first time, every single time. So how do we fix this, right? We can't just change the fundamental nature of the models themselves. Instead, engineers have come up with a really clever way to build a memory around the model. Let's take a look at how they do it.
The solution has a name: context engineering. You can think of it as the art of creating a perfect, custom-built information package for the AI on every single turn of a conversation. It's all about giving the AI exactly what it needs to know, right when it needs to know it, so that it can fake a continuous state of awareness.
And here is a fantastic analogy that just makes it all click. Context engineering is like a chef's mise en place. A great chef doesn't just start cooking with random stuff. They meticulously prepare and arrange every single ingredient they need first. This whole process makes sure the AI has all the right ingredients, things like past conversations, user facts, tool outputs, before it even starts to cook up a response.
And just to be super clear, this is a huge leap beyond just writing a good prompt. We're not just writing one clever instruction one time. No, we are dynamically building the entire information payload, the system instructions, the conversation history, retrieved memories, all of it, for every single interaction.
Okay, so how does this actually work? Well, context engineering really relies on two key components. The first one is what we can call the session workbench. Think of this as the agent's short-term working memory for a single active task. So what's on this workbench? Well, you've got the raw conversation history, the turn-by-turn dialogue. You've got the outputs from any tools the agent might have used, like looking up some data. And you've got this scratch pad, which is basically a space for its own notes and calculations while it's working. It's everything it needs for the task right in front of it.
Now, this workbench can be temporary, kind of like scribbling notes on a whiteboard that you're just going to erase when you're done. That's great for quick tests. Or it can be persistent, like saving your work to a file. This lets you close the program, come back later, and pick up exactly where you left off, which, of course, is absolutely essential for any real-world application. But what happens when the project is done? You don't just take that entire messy workbench and shove it into storage, right? That's where the second key component comes in, the memory filing cabinet. This is the system for organized, long-term knowledge. And the distinction here is absolutely critical. The workbench is all about managing one active conversation with raw, chronological data. The filing cabinet, or the memory, is for saving curated knowledge across many, many conversations. You take the important insights from that messy workbench, you clean them up, and then you file them away for future use.
Okay, so at this point, you might be thinking, hang on, this sounds an awful lot like retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. And that's a great question because while they are related, they actually serve two very different purposes. Think of it this way. RAG is the agent's research librarian. It goes to a massive public library to find established facts about the world. Memory, on the other hand, is the agent's personal assistant. It keeps a private, dedicated notebook with facts specifically about you, your preferences, your history, your goals. One is an expert on the world. The other is an expert on you. So how does information actually get into that filing cabinet? It happens through something called a memory generation pipeline. It's almost like an automated data processing job.
The system takes in the raw conversation, uses an LLM to pull out the really important insights, it consolidates them with memories it already has to avoid duplicates or contradictions, and then it stores the final polished result. All right, so when we put all these pieces together, the stateless model at the core, the session workbench for short-term tasks, and the memory filing cabinet for long-term knowledge, we really start to engineer a genuinely smarter agent. And what emerges is this incredibly powerful, continuous cognitive loop. With every single interaction, the agent fetches relevant context from its workbench and its filing cabinet, it prepares that perfect mise en place of information, it invokes the LLM to generate a response, and then, and this is the critical part, it uploads any new learnings back into its long-term memory. It's this constant cycle of perceiving, thinking, and most importantly, learning.
So if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. Context engineering is what orchestrates what the agent can even perceive. The session is what provides the continuity for a single thought process. And memory, while memory is what ultimately gives the agent a persistent identity and an understanding of its relationship with you.
At the end of the day, this is the architecture that elevates a simple, forgetful chatbot into a genuine learning assistant. It's what allows an AI to build on past interactions, to remember what actually matters, and to slowly build a functional, personalized relationship with you over time. And that really leaves us with a fascinating final question to think about. As an AI's memory of us grows deeper and maybe even more nuanced than any humans ever could be, how does our fundamental relationship with this technology start to change?